What is up everyone, Vex30 here, coming at you with a new Pro Talk today. It has been so long since we've done one of these, and I thought it was a good time because Season 2 just recently came out. I've gotten a chance to play on the changes, and I've really seen how it has affected competitive, at least scrimming so far. So I thought it was a good time to go ahead and give you an update, what I think about Season 2, and how it's going to affect competitive play altogether. So the first most important thing about the patch is a new champion, Amani. We're not going to go in depth about her since we did just recently in our Amani champion chat, which you can check out if you want to see an in-depth review about her. But abilities, she stand switches, she has two forms. She slows in her ice form, she does big burst damage in her fire form. She has a big ultimate, a dragon, which recently got nerfed, and her fire form got like a buff in the 2.02 patch notes, which we'll do a patch overview tomorrow on. But she has a big dragon she summons and she controls while she sits there immune. It's pretty cool, but it's very counterable due to Bulldozer and the recent nerfs to it in 2.02 and the hotfix that just dropped, which decreased the duration from 25 seconds to 20 seconds. Amani's playstyle kind of fits that mid-range, long-range playstyle of a Cassie or a Leanne or a Shaolin. She doesn't bring too much special to the table. She brings an awesome root and some awesome burst damage on her fire form, but that's really it. I don't see her replacing any of those mid-range champions currently, especially with the nerf she just received. If anything, I don't see her being that much in the meta. She is a very balanced champion currently. She will find her way due to her root and when people find playstyles for her. Since she stand switches, she has a high skill cap because there's so many different combinations and possibilities you can do with her. So she's going to need some time to figure out where she fits in the meta. So I can't really judge her currently. She might change the full landscape of competitive play herself, but I don't see it happening. But again, it's gonna take time. Next, let's talk about the newest map, Warder's Gate. Now, Warder's Gate is an amazing, just amazing, visually awesome looking map. The design is amazing. The way it's symmetrical, but it's not. The two different sides have two different designs. How one's a forest, the other one's more of a normal building or like a city. It's kind of crazy looking. Even though it's symmetrical, it's different, which is awesome to look at. And another thing that they're introducing to competitive maps is this crystal jump flotation, like elevator device. It's kind of crazy. In competitive play, these things make things interesting. It's fun to watch people go up them and make plays off of them. So I kind of like what they're doing here, adding different mechanics to maps, not just walk around, shoot. We'll go up to high ground, shoot. Go up to low ground, shoot. Go on a bridge, shoot. Oh, I ultimate. No, you can go up these crystals, you can roll off them, you can dive into their backline using them, you can escape, you can drop in behind your enemies. There's a lot of cool things with these mechanics to the maps. So I'm really happy about it. The map design also, the layout of the map is also really conducive to competitive play. The point fight is closed enough where tanks don't get instantly bursted. There's two sides and two different rooms people can look at them, but your team typically controls one of those sides, so they only have one side and main to look at. Now, one interesting change if you notice about the point fights, there are two walls on separate sides on each side of the point, and there's a little sliver under the wall that you can shoot point from. So you have to be very careful about that when you're playing a point tank or a tank on point, that you don't get constantly harassed from there, and you have to watch your health pool because of it. And the final thing to note on maps is there are currently 12 maps in the game, and soon to be 13 after 2.02 drops. With, I forgot what the name of it was already. It makes it very interesting because most competitive games are best of 5, so you play 5 maps. If the PPL keeps the HRX format of 2 map bans, that's gonna leave with 13 maps, 2 map bans per team. You're gonna ban out 4 maps, so there's gonna be 9 left out of 5. So there's gonna be 4 maps constantly not played, and 4 of them banned. So that's going to make for a lot better viewer experience and a player experience because you're going to get the best of the best maps. You have a choice not to play certain maps that nobody likes. You also have a choice to play certain maps that nobody likes to throw off your opponents. There is a lot of different competitive scenarios that this really helps with 2 map bans that they keep that, plus having more maps. There's a lot more variety and options to throw off your opponents. But that is all for maps. It's interesting, it's nice, it's going to be cool. We'll see how that changes. Next, the big thing about this patch is removing built-in cauterize, wrecker, reveals, and crowd control reduction from champion loadout cards. This is probably the biggest change in Season 2. One of the biggest. There's another one coming soon. Now, before we talk about what this does to the meta, we have to talk about what the meta was before. The meta before Season 2 was a high-versed, high-kill, you kill people so quick beforehand. The sustain healers weren't as effective because of built-in cauterizes like Death and Taxes, Antediluvian from Talus, Brand for Fernando. It makes it a lot harder to be a healer early game and throughout the game. So burst meta was a thing because you can't save people from getting two-shot. You can't get that burst heal on somebody. You can't get that extra sustain that somebody needs to keep them alive, which is the worst feeling as a healer, I'm just saying. But that was the meta before. But with getting rid of built-in cauterized wreckers, reveals, crowd control reductions, you're going to see a possibility of a sustain/CC meta. Now, what I mean by sustain meta is double tank, single support, double TPS, or triple tank, double support, or double tank, double support, single DPS. There's a lot of options here. You're going to see a lot more supports being played in competitive. It's going to happen because without built-in COTS and the way supports work right now and how good they are, you're going to see multiple of them. And tanks inherently get better when burst is gone and healers get better. Tanks didn't get a nerf. If anything, they got buffs to getting extra healing below 50% health on like Makoa and Fernando. And other tanks might have got it. Those are the two I remember offhand. Tanks are going to become a lot more viable because they didn't get a nerf. And after a burst meta, after DPS fall off a little bit, tanks obviously become better. And supports became better because getting rid of built-in cauterizers and wreckers. So it's going to be a sustain meta and a CC meta. And without crowd control reduction, CC meta means Damba's going to become more prevalent. Grover cripples, the root may become a thing. I don't know about that one, but CC will become a thing. And I'm interested to see how it goes and how it develops. Currently, I'm not sure how it's developing because it is all over the place playing it, but I feel like that's where we're heading. Another change they did is removing one talent per champion. Now, two things that really this does. It's not huge, but it helps balance its changes. It helps Evil Mojo balance champions because having 4 talents and having to balance a loadout system, you have to take into account for in-game items, their damage, their whatever. Having 4 talents and balancing a champion around that is too hard. They had to reduce it to 3 for themselves, and that just simplifies it for new players having 3 talents. It makes it easier for a new player to get in. You have choices of these, and what they did by putting a lot of the gotten rid of legendaries built into their kits. Take Genos for instance. They got rid of Celestial Touch and built in 5% of the 10% of max health into his kit. That helped him. That was a buff because Luminary has always been the better legendary. So it was a really good change, and it's going to help Evil Mojo balance in the future, which will help competitive. But it's also going to help newer players get into the game and not be so overwhelmed by what's going on. And the final huge change to Season 2 was Item Store being unlocked. This buffs many different champions in different ways. Since I'm a support main, I talk about supports. Let's talk about 2 main ones this helps. Furia and Grover. Furia has one of the better ultimates in the game, but she typically had to buy Chronos because her cooldowns are so high when she's running Solar Blessing. But now, she can still get Chronos, but she can also get Morale Boost. More ults from Furia. Her ultimate, like the way I scale ultimates, like I always say, is usability, and you have to equate for usability and how good it is. How easy it is to use compared to how good it is. It's an amazing ult and extremely easy to use. So why not get Morale Boost and spam it? It's extremely good, the buffs it gives your allies. And she gets a lot of ult charge because she does a lot of damage, and she has a lot of burst heal from her Solar Blessing. And Grover, he's always getting Chronos, right? Because his cooldowns are longer and it helps his whole kit. But his ultimate is also a game changer. It is harder to use, but it's extremely good. It can change the course of a game in competitive. Grover ult in casuals may not help as much, but when you communicate to your team, when you have Grover ult and when you're going to use it, team can group up. They can all get healing from it. You can buy now Cauterize, and you can buy Chronos and Morale Boost, even like a Nimble on different supports too. You can buy 3 yellow cards. That's going to help supports and other champions so much. Being able to buy, even tanks, buying Blast Shields and Haven. Their tankiness is going to increase. Sustain's going to increase. Though, being able to buy Cauterize and Wrecker will hurt the sustain meta, which is a good balance change. This helps balance sustain meta at the same time. which is good because a full sustain meta is not good for the game in my opinion. But that's a video for another time. Let's talk about the price changes really quick. Resilience got reduced from 300 to 250. Now, one of these might be off because I can't fully remember. I talked to a few people about it, about the original prices. I think they're all right. Resilience reduced from 300 to 250. That's going to help against the CC meta. Reducing that was a huge change to help so we don't become in a full sustain and CC meta, which is a good thing. Having a balanced meta is good. Illuminate reduced from 200 to 150. I don't really see a reason for that. I feel like it was just done so people will buy it more. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, but it's okay. It's not bad. Killed Hill Knife Rip reduced from 300 to 200. That is a huge change. Green cards were not bought very often. If they were, it's Rejuvenate or it's the last item bought. But now with them lower pricing, playing a flank, if you're say a Xin and you don't have self-sustain and you play away from your healer, so you have a Grover healer, you can buy that kill to heal. And you can get this extra healing whenever you dive the backline, so you don't have to rely on your healer so much. It's kind of nice that it was reduced to 200, kind of a quality of life change. Bulldozer, this one's actually kind of huge, especially when it comes to Amani. I believe the base price was 300. It might have been 250, I'm not sure, but it were for sure reduced to 150. Reducing it to 150, what that does is, especially with Amani, reducing it to 150 lets you rush it super early, get Bulldozer 3 online, kill that dragon instantly, and that's it. It's done. The dragon's dead. When you have a Shaolin or a Lian or a Cassie or a sniper on Bulldozer 3, that dragon does not have a chance to even play the game. It's just, it is how it is. And like Inara Cripple, I believe that was meta when it comes to like mid-tier rank games. Inara Cripple was. That's going to help counter that meta as well. Cripple's annoying to deal with. Buying Bulldozer, it's extremely cheap, and you can also buy Bulldozer, Cauterize, and Wrecker. Like, there's so many different options you can do with unlocking the item store, and it really shakes up the game and makes it fun again. Deft Hands, price reduced from 300 to 250. All my Damba mains out there, whew, thank goodness. You can feel less bad buying Deft Hands and stunning people and making plays with Damba. It's a feels good, man. This also makes it more viable to buy Deft Hands on a Cassie or a Lian because it's only 250. You would buy it as a last item after you get your Cauterize, your Wrecker, your Haven, your green card, whatever you want to buy that game. Reducing it to 250 really does help it, really does help it become more of a viable option for a card choice besides Damba. Because I thought Deft Hands was only good on Damba. So that's the major changes in Season 2. But let's quickly... since the balance changes were so long and extensive, we're not going to go over all of them because this video is already about getting close to 15 minutes. This video would go to 40 minutes if I went over every single balance change to talk about it. So we're going to do an overview over all of them and how all of them together will change the landscape of Paladins, okay? So in general, tanks got a buff. Ashe got a huge buff being able to stun. Barrett got huge health changes, which was awesome. It increased his health and sustainability. Fernando, he got a slight nerf to his Scorch, which was good. I think Scorch was insane, but he also got a buff to his health and Formidable. Formidable is going to come into meta because no Cauterizes, and you can just throw up your shield real quick. Inara didn't really get a change, even though I feel like she should have got nerfed. I really wanted Inara to get nerfed on her healing on her right click. Khan got an amazing nerf on his ultimate. Khan won't be as prevalent at first pick, first ban. So tanks, overall, stayed the same with a little bit of a buff, but the OPs like Khan kind of got a huge nerf. Makoa doesn't need change in my opinion. If anything, Leviathan needs a nerf. But the OPs got worse, which is awesome. Having champions that are permabanned like Khan get a nerf is great for competitive. Supports got, if anything, a buff. Grok got buffed, Damba got a nice couple new cards. Supports got buffed, especially like Saris got a buff. Ying did get a nerf, and Ying, I don't think Ying will find a way in the meta though, just because of her heal bot. The way she works, she's a heal bot. She doesn't bring any utility to the table. But with tanks getting, if anything, a slight buff overall, supports getting a slight buff overall, and DPS getting their burst potential nerfed, this is going to perpetuate what I keep saying, what is a sustain meta. Take Tyra's change, for instance. she now has 3 different nades. She has a stacking nade legendary, which is cool, but she also has a DR card to pair with that. That is sustain. Damage reduction includes with sustain because you stay alive for longer. It's sustain. You stay alive for longer. Say Vivian, Sapper rounds got removed. She can't break shields fast. It's the thing that the changes really push the sustain meta, but with the changes to the item store and the changes to unlocking and letting you buy multiple red cards and yellow cards really do help not perpetuate it. I do still feel like we're going into a sustain meta, and with the balance changes, it is going to push us more into a sustain meta, but it won't be as hard as, like, if you played Overwatch and you know what GOATS meta is, go all tanks and supports. I don't think Paladins is moving to that. We are not moving to a GOATS meta. It's not going to happen. There will be damage champions. There might be times where a GOATS comp comes out, but it won't be every single game like in Overwatch. hi-rez made some really good changes, or Evil Mojo, sorry, made some very, very good changes unlocking the item store to help stop the increased sustain so you can buy multiple reds and counter it out. So great job, Evil Mojo. Season 2 is an exciting one for competitive. I'm so excited for the PPL, and I can't wait to see it played. Can't wait to play in it possibly. It's an exciting time for Paladins in general, and it's an extremely exciting time for competitive. The game switching around. As a pro player, the game will get stagnant. I play the game every day. I play it for a living. I play scrims every night, and it gets boring over time. But when a change like this happens, it really has reinvigorated my love for the game, and I'm very happy for what Evil Mojo did to this patch, and I'm excited to keep trying it, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for Paladins. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Pro Talk. I really wanted to go over the Season 2 changes earlier, but I didn't really have time. I had a lot of videos that I had to do. I got swamped. I had some things come up. It's a little bit late of a video, but I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope you enjoy your day, night, evening, morning, dawn, dusk, or whatever it is where you live, and I will see you in the next one. Later.